After the car accident, I can see women's attribute values. After a car accident, my eyes were severely damaged. The day my eyes recovered, I saw a strange number above the heads of all women. My wife's was 0, my mother-in-law's was 30, and my wife's best friend's was 45. What does this number represent? As I investigated, I discovered a truth that made me break down. Bang! I watched as the speeding car crashed into mine, even though I was prepared. But the moment it hit, a death-like, suffocating sensation swept through my body. I barely felt any pain before passing out. When I woke up again, I could only vaguely hear a voice beside me. Luckily, you arrived in time. The injured person's condition has stabilized. Another voice sounded. Doctor, thank you. It was my wife, Phone Juan's voice. She kept thanking the doctor. I knew I had survived the car accident, but why was everything in front of me pitch black? I couldn't see anything. I managed to make a tiny sound, and Phone Juan heard it, rushing to my side. Honey, are you awake? I softly responded and said, Why can't I see anything? The doctor's voice sounded again. Your eyes were severely damaged in the car accident. We have done our best. We can't say for sure if they will recover in the future. I hope you are mentally prepared. I was silent. In the following days, Phone Juan took care of me in the hospital every day. I would always ask her, Honey, what if my eyes really don't get better? Phone Juan would always comfort me and say, Don't talk nonsense. Honey, don't worry. You will definitely get better. Our family's financial situation wasn't too bad, but it wasn't great either. The expensive medical bills became a worry for me. I asked Phone Juan, Honey, what about the driver who hit me? Phone Juan said to me in a low voice, The driver fled the scene after hitting you. They still haven't found him. The car was also using fake plates. The police haven't found any leads yet. Phone Juan seemed to see what I was thinking. Honey, don't think too much. Even if we never find the driver, we still have to get you healed. Don't worry too much about the money. I didn't say anything. During my hospitalization, besides our parents, the person who came to see me the most was Phone Juan's best friend. Her name is UNI. We have met a few times. She, like Phone Juan, was a top-notch beauty with an excellent figure and appearance. She probably worried that Phone Juan would be bored staying in the hospital all day, so she would come and chat with Phone Juan whenever she had time. I secretly vowed in my heart that when I got better, I would definitely treat her to a good meal to thank her. Probably due to my wife's careful care, my eyes gradually recovered from only being able to see a little light at the beginning, which also gave me back my confidence. After 2 months of recuperation in the hospital, my eyes miraculously recovered. Even the doctor thought it was a miracle. However, the scene before my eyes when I opened them made me feel a little confused. I vaguely saw a blue number appear above Phone Juan's head. It was a 0. Could it be that my eyes had just recovered and I was seeing things? I rubbed my eyes and looked at her head again. This time, I was sure I wasn't seeing things. There was indeed a 0 above Phone Juan's head. At this time, the doctor and nurse also entered the ward. There was no number above the doctor's head, but there was a number above the nurse's head. It was 5. I was stunned. Phone Juan saw me staring at the top of her head without moving, and she couldn't help but look up at the ceiling. What's wrong? Honey, I said in a low voice, Honey, why is there a 0 above your head? The nurse has 1 too. It's a 5. Hearing this, Phone Juan touched her head. No, honey, what's wrong? Are your eyes still adjusting after just recovering? The doctor also said to me, Your eyes were blind for several months. It's normal to have some visual hallucinations after regaining your sight. Just rest at home for a few days and you'll be fine. In the end, I could only choose to believe the doctor's words. However, while my wife was taking care of the discharge procedures, I sat in the hospital lobby. I noticed that among the passers-by, the men had no numbers above their heads, but all the women had numbers above their heads. Most of them were 0. I couldn't believe it was a hallucination. At that moment, a voice rang out. Phone Juan. I looked up and saw you and I walking in from the hospital entrance, waving to Phone Juan next to me. And a number appeared above Uni's head, which was 45. I was dumbfounded. Although most of the numbers above the women's heads were 0, including my wife Phone Juan, why were some of the numbers different? Like you and I, why was hers 45? You and I came to our side, greeted phone one, and then looked at me. Great writer. Congratulations on your discharge. A close escape means good fortune in the future. I hurriedly smiled and nodded at her, saying thank you. Phone one said to me, Honey, our car was wrecked, so I could only ask you and I to pick us up from the hospital. I smiled and said nothing. I was still thinking about why numbers appeared above all the women's heads. After getting in the car, phone one was worried that I would have psychological trauma, so she let me sit in the back seat, and she and you and I sat in the front chatting. But I kept staring at the numbers above their heads. When we arrived at our residential complex and parked the car, after getting out of the car, I said to you and I, Beautiful lady, thank you for coming to the hospital to accompany phone one during this time. If I have time another day, I will definitely treat you to a meal. You and I smiled and said, Oh, you don't have to thank me. Shawan is my good friend. It's okay to visit you in the hospital and keep her company. I was just about to speak when suddenly, the number above Eunice's head jumped once from 45 to 46. I was stunned again. What exactly was going on? I was sure it wasn't my hallucination, but what did the number above their heads mean? The number above phone one's head was still 0, unchanged. Why did Eunice's number change? Before I could figure it out, phone one said to you and I, Nizi, Li Xiaotian is being discharged from the hospital today. My parents and his parents are all at our house, so we won't keep you. We'll thank you properly another day. You and I was very understanding, nodded, and then looked at me. Go back and rest well, and don't worry Shawan anymore. I nodded to her, and she started the car and left. When we arrived home, our 4 parents surrounded us with concern, but my attention was on the tops of my mother's and mother-in-law's heads. To my surprise, there was no number displayed above my mother's head, but the number above my mother-in-law's head was 30. I was dumbfounded again. This was another different number. I was about to be driven crazy by these numbers. What do they mean? But after thinking about it, I only felt that my eyes were a little sore. In the end, I could only choose not to think about it. After returning home, everyone agreed that I should rest more. They didn't let me sit for long and advised me to lie down in the bedroom. They chatted about the hit-and-run driver in the living room, saying they would find him and make him pay compensation. Before I knew it, drowsiness came over me, and I laid down and fell asleep, hoping that when I woke up the next day, those numbers would no longer appear above their heads. The next day, when I woke up, phone one was already up and preparing breakfast for me. I hurried to the kitchen door and looked at the top of her head. The number was still there. She noticed me behind her, turned around, and smiled at me. Honey, you're awake. Breakfast will be ready soon. Seeing that she was already dressed in her professional suit, I asked, Honey, are you going out? Phone one said to me, Of course. I haven't been at work in the last few months taking care of you. The company has been urging me many times. If I don't go back, I probably won't be able to keep my supervisor position. Rest well at home and don't go to work for now. I nodded to her. Phone one left without having breakfast with me. I felt bored staying in the house, so I went downstairs for a walk around the neighborhood. During that time, I met many women, all of whom were our next-door neighbors, and we usually got along well. They still had numbers above their heads, and this time, there were very few with 0. For example, the little sister downstairs who is about to take the college entrance exam often comes to me to ask for writing tips. The number above her head was 25. The older sister who works in the property management office had the number 17 above her head. And the owner of the supermarket, we often buy things at her supermarket, and the number above her head was 38. Does this value represent a woman's loyalty or infidelity rate? But then, I immediately shook off this idea. In the following days, I was always troubled by this inexplicable number. I told phone one, but she fobbed me off with the doctor's words. Later one day, phone one was resting at home, so we decided to invite her good friend you and I to our home as a guest to have a meal and thank her. You and I did not refuse after receiving phone one's call. When she knocked on the door and phone one went to open it for her, I was first deeply attracted by her outfit today. Today, she was wearing denim shorts, exposing her long and fair legs, paired with a pair of white high heels, which was simply a treat for leg lovers. She wore a tight white t-shirt on her upper body, and the woman's curves were incredibly tall and straight. There are many beauties in Phone Juan's circle of friends, but UNI is definitely one of the best. After admiring her beauty, I hurriedly looked at the top of her head. The number was still there, unchanged, still 46. After she entered the house, she put down the fruits and milk she had bought, greeted Phone Juan, and then looked at me. "Great writer. How are you? Are you feeling better?" I came back to my senses and nodded with a smile. "Much better. Thank you for your concern." She didn't say anything else and went to the kitchen to help Phone Juan. Soon, the fragrant food was on the table. To celebrate my rebirth, the two of them brought beer, but they wouldn't let me drink it. I had just been discharged from the hospital, so naturally I couldn't drink alcohol. So, the two of them started drinking at the dinner table, one cup after another. Phone Juan's alcohol tolerance has never been very good, and I know this. Sure enough, after 2 bottles of beer, her speech began to become slurred, and she was obviously drunk. UNI was fine, just her pretty face was a little flushed. After a while, Phone Juan completely fell asleep on the sofa, unconscious. I was a little helpless, so I helped her to the bed in the bedroom to lie down. I came to the living room. UNI was sitting on the sofa, and when she saw me coming out, she smiled at me. "I'm sorry, Xiao Tian. I got your wife drunk again." I smiled and said, "It's okay as long as you're happy." UNI also stood up at this time. "Okay, since Xiaowan is already asleep, I won't bother you anymore, especially you. You need to rest well." With that, she walked towards the door. I hurriedly stopped her. "Wait." UNI turned her head to look at me. "What's wrong?" I hurriedly picked up the clothes on the sofa and said to her, "You didn't drive here, did you?" UNI said no. I knew that I would have to drink 2 glasses with her today, so I didn't drive here. I walked towards her. "That's good. Don't drink and drive. Take a taxi back. You've also had a lot to drink. I'll see you off." Just as I finished saying this, suddenly, I noticed that the number above UNI's head jumped again, from the initial 46 to 49, an increase of 3 points. This numerical change stunned me once again. UNI's face was flushed, whether from the alcohol or something else. It was quite remarkable. She hastily waved her hand at me and said, "No need, no need. It's not far to the roadside. Xiaowan is drunk, but I'm not." As she spoke, she turned and walked towards the door. But suddenly, she stumbled, nearly falling to the ground. Careful! With quick eyes and hands, I quickly supported her, preventing her from falling. After she steadied herself, our eyes met, and neither of us spoke, but I clearly saw the numbers above her head change again, from 49 to 52, another increase of 3 points. After we both regained our senses, I said to her, "All right, let me take you downstairs. Don't refuse anymore." She didn't say anything more. We went downstairs together in silence, and I was constantly thinking about what these numbers meant. The first change in the numbers above UNI's head was when I invited her to our house. The second was just now, when I said I would take her downstairs. And the third change, just now, was when I helped her. What was the connection between them? I pondered and pondered, and suddenly I was startled by my own thought. Could it be that the numbers above UNI's head represent her infidelity rate related to me? Does she want to cheat on me with me? So, the 0 above my wife's head represents her absolute loyalty to me. It seems like there's a clue. I decided to try again. A taxi stopped beside us. It was already dark outside, and there seemed to be signs of rain. UNI was dressed lightly, and coupled with the alcohol, she crossed her arms, hugging herself as if she was cold. She turned her head and looked at me. "Xiao Tian, you should go back. I'm leaving now." I made a bold decision and said to her, "Why don't I take you home? I'm a little worried about you going back alone like this." UNI was stunned, and I quickly looked at the numbers above her head, and sure enough, it had increased by 3 points. After she came back to her senses, she quickly refused. "It's okay, it's not far, it doesn't matter." Before she could refuse again, I had already opened the car door. "Let's go, I don't have anything to do anyway. I've been cooped up at home these past few days. It's good to go out for a walk." UNI didn't say anything, and got into the car on her own. The car was driving, and on a bend, UNI leaned towards me involuntarily due to the excessive speed. When her arm touched me, I immediately felt that her body was unusually cold. I quickly took off my coat and handed it to her. Put it on, it's very cold outside now. Be careful not to catch a cold. You and I wanted to refuse, but I had already put the coat on her. You and I looked at me with a flushed face, and the numbers above her head continued to rise. At this moment, I was completely sure that you and I really had feelings for me. After dropping you and I off at her house, I immediately asked the driver to turn around and go back. Arriving at the entrance of the community, I met her upstairs neighbor, a woman, just as I entered the gate. Her husband is often away, and she lives upstairs with a child. Many times, her child made a lot of noise, causing Phone Juan and I to not sleep well all night. Later, Phone Juan couldn't bear it and went upstairs to reason with her. As a result, the two had a big fight. Later, the property management came to mediate, and the matter was settled. So when we met, it was almost like enemies. She glanced at me fiercely when she saw me, but my attention was on the numbers above her head. The number above her head was -5. This was the first time I'd seen a negative number, which completely overturned my previous guess. If it's an infidelity rate, how could there be a negative number? Absolute loyalty would be 0. A negative number doesn't make sense at all. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration flashed in my mind. Could this value be a measure of affection? This woman has had conflicts with my family, so she definitely doesn't have any affection for me, maybe even dislikes me. It makes perfect sense that the number would be negative. So, the numbers above these women's heads represent their affection for me. The nurse often comes to our ward for rounds and says a few words. I haven't provoked her in any way, so it's 5. The lady at the convenience store downstairs, we often buy things from them, and she treats us like a cash cow, so it's normal for her to have affection for me. My mom is family, so naturally, no affection level is displayed. So what's the deal with Phone Juan? Her affection for me is 0. She doesn't love me at all. I was startled by this thought in my mind. Phone Juan and I have been married for 4 years, and even though I pursued her for 4 years before that, our relationship has always been very good after marriage. Even when I was on the verge of going blind, Phone Juan still took care of me in the hospital for months. How could she not love me? When I got home, Phone Juan was already awake. She got up to drink water. Seeing me come in, she asked, "Where did you go? Where's you and I?" I was about to lie and say that I put you and I in a car downstairs in order not to cause unnecessary suspicion, but looking at the 0 above Phone Juan's head, I finally decided that even if she suspected me, even if she was unhappy with me, I still had to see if the number above her head would change. So I said to her, "Your best friend also drank a lot of wine just now." I was worried that something might happen to her if she went back alone, so I took her home. After saying that, I immediately stared at the number above her head. Suddenly, the 0 above her head changed to -1. I was stunned. Phone Juan just quietly said, "Oh," and turned back to the bedroom, while I stared at the -1 above her head in a daze. This number, Phone Juan really doesn't love me. All night, I sat in the living room, unable to sleep, my mind echoing with the scene of the number above Phone Juan's head changing. Until the next day, when Phone Juan got up to go to work, I numbly raised my head to look at the number above her head, and it was still -1. She frowned and asked me, "What's wrong with you? Why aren't you sleeping?" I forced a smile and said to her, "I can't sleep." She didn't say much and went to the kitchen to prepare breakfast on her own. After breakfast, she went to work. All day long, I sat on the sofa, thinking about why the number above Phone Juan's head was -1. I wanted to convince myself with the doctor's explanation, but I couldn't. In the end, I decided that no matter what, I had to find out if Phone Juan really loved me. So, I started secretly following her. At first, I didn't notice anything wrong. Phone Juan went to work, as usual, every day, and went home alone after work. Occasionally, she would go to see you and I for a while. Everything seemed too normal, but it made me feel uneasy. Phone Juan usually likes to go shopping, and the things she buys are very expensive. During this period, she hardly went shopping, which surprised me. Could it be that the money was all spent in the hospital during my hospitalization? That's not possible. Although I had a close brush with death, the national policy is very good now. Even if I spent $100,000, I could at least get half of it reimbursed. I still have $50,000 in savings. But Just as I was about to give up following her, I finally saw a scene that broke my heart. That day, I waited for phone 1 downstairs at her company. I had already decided that if I couldn't find any results today, I would stop investigating and just treat it as a hallucination. I always firmly believed that phone 1 loved me. Before phone 1 came out, she called me first. Honey, our company has a dinner party tonight, so I won't be home for dinner. Just eat at home yourself. In theory, a dinner party is normal, but before I could even speak, phone 1 hung up the phone. I decided to wait and see. After a while, phone 1's figure appeared at the entrance of her company. After she walked out of the company, she looked around several times. I hurriedly hid, worried that she would see me. After she didn't see anything unusual, she immediately lowered her head and walked towards the side of the road. Then, she got into a black car. I happened to see that black car too. It was her company's boss's car. When phone 1 called me just now, I saw her boss walk out of the building and get into that car. At this moment, my heart was surging and my head was hot. Could it be that phone 1 really betrayed me? After thinking about it, I decided to follow them and see, so I immediately took a taxi and followed them. Their car didn't drive fast and finally stopped at the entrance of a park. There were many people in the park at this time. After I got out of the car, I followed them. They looked cautious and occasionally looked back at their surroundings. It was their guilty appearance that made my heart ache. They came to the lake in the park. There was no one here. After they sat down on a bench, I hurriedly hid behind a big tree behind them. I could hear their conversation completely. At this moment, a scene that almost made me fall to the ground appeared. I saw phone 1's boss look around, and after confirming that there was no one around, he reached out and put his arm around phone 1's waist. Baby, I miss you so much. We haven't dared to do anything these days. This feeling of only being able to look but not eat is really unpleasant. Phone 1 hurriedly took his hand away. What are you doing? There are people coming and going, so be discreet. But her boss didn't listen at all and still leaned in. After phone 1 refused several times, she simply didn't refuse and let her boss hug her. At that moment, I wanted to rush out and kill this adulterous couple. Phone 1 finally betrayed me. In the end, I still held back. It wasn't worth going to jail for a woman like her. I trembled as I took out my phone, turned on the video recorder, and recorded their every move, even their conversations. That kid is really lucky. I spent 200,000 yuan and even asked someone to kill him by hitting him with a car, but I didn't expect him to survive. Hearing this, my blood surged. It turned out that this car accident was premeditated. Phone 1's head leaned against her boss. He's not dead yet. I've been dying these past few days. At home every day, I have to pretend to be a virtuous wife, just worry that he will see something. Her boss also said, "Hey, if we hadn't lost tens of millions in gambling, we wouldn't have had to use the insurance fraud method. You could have just divorced him. If we kill that kid this time, at least we can get a few million in compensation to make up for the loss." It turned out that they wanted to kill me by hitting me with a car in order to commit insurance fraud. I laughed. If I hadn't discovered earlier, I guess there would be another conspiracy waiting for me. Finally, phone 1 asked, "How is that person? Did he go abroad?" I knew they were talking about the driver who hit me. Go abroad? That kid is not dead. The police can't track him down. After a while, they won't investigate anymore. It's okay. I arranged him in the Hohot community and told him to go out less recently. After the two finished chatting, they shamelessly cuddled on the bench. After I thoroughly filmed the two of them, I secretly left. I don't know how I got home. With great difficulty, I calmed myself down. Since it was phone 1 who betrayed me and even wanted to kill me, I couldn't be blamed for what I was about to do. I frantically searched the house and finally found the insurance policy she had secretly bought for me, hidden deep inside a box. After taking photos, I put it back where it was. Then I contacted the police and obtained the surveillance video of my car accident. Although the face of the other party was not clear in the video, the general outline could still be seen. In the following days, whenever I had time, I would go to the Osmanthus Garden residential area to lie in wait. As the saying goes, heaven never seals off all exits. After several days, I saw a man come downstairs to a convenience store to buy some things, and this man looked very similar to the man in the video. So I secretly followed him, and after confirming where he lived, I immediately contacted the police. The police also took it very seriously and immediately sent someone over. I followed the police and tricked the man into opening the door. The police quickly subdued him. The police questioned him about the details, but the man didn't say anything at all. Finally, the police began to search his house and found 2 license plates that had been removed from a car. Then they started searching his phone. At this time, the man became nervous. As expected, the police found chat logs and transfer record between him and Feng Wan's boss on his phone. Of course, it wasn't 200,000 yuan, just the cost of renting a place to live and hiding out. The man was speechless and finally confessed to the facts. At the same time, I also gave the video and the insurance policy to the police. The police quickly took action and arrested Feng Wan and her boss. When I stood at the entrance of the residential area and watched Feng Wan being escorted out by 2 policewomen, she looked at me and tears instantly fell down her face. She pleaded bitterly with me. "Husband, I'm sorry. I was just confused for a moment and did something I shouldn't have. I love you, please believe me. For the sake of our years of marriage, please forgive me." I knew that as long as I forgave her and signed the letter of understanding, Feng Wan could be given a lighter sentence. But I raised my head and looked at the number above her head. It had changed again, from -1 to -23. Was this her love for me? I guess she probably wanted me to die 10,000 times now. I didn't say anything, just silently watch her being taken away by the police. In the following days, I stayed at home. My parents came several times, and Feng Wan's parents also came several times. But they were quite reasonable. After learning the truth, they were all heartbroken about Feng Wan. Although I didn't know if they were sincere, seeing that the number above my mother-in-law's head was still 30, it meant that she didn't hate me. In the end, under their tearful pleas, I still signed the letter of understanding for the sake of our marriage, hoping that Feng Wan could sincerely repent. My marriage with Feng Wan was definitely impossible to continue. Finally, I sold the house and planned to leave this city to live. After all, it held too many painful memories for me. And the only thing that made me still have a trace of longing was you and I, my ex-wife's best friend who had a good impression of me. I decided to say goodbye to her properly before leaving. After all, we knew each other. After I contacted her, she was shocked. She said to me, "I thought that after Feng Wan did such a thing to you, and I'm her best friend, you wouldn't pay attention to me anymore." I laughed and said, "How could that be? She is she, you are you. You didn't know about the things she did. Why don't we go out for a drink?" You and I agreed. After we met, we found a cafe to sit down. I saw that the number above her head had become 74. Maybe it was sympathy for me. She was very curious about what happened, so I told her everything. You and I was also a little angry. This Xiao Wan is really something. Her own husband is such a good person, and she still did such a thing. If it were me. We looked at each other, and she realized that what she said was a bit ambiguous, so she quickly lowered her head and drank coffee. "What are your plans for the future?" I didn't hide anything from her. I've decided to leave this sad city tomorrow, so I'm here to say goodbye to you today. After all, you're the only acquaintance I have in this city. Yuni's movements froze. She didn't look up. "What time are you leaving?" "The flight is at 8 in the morning." She was silent. After finishing our drinks, I sent her back. When she turned her head to look at me reluctantly and waved goodbye to me, I saw that the number above her head had become 81 again. Does that mean that Yuni's liking for me has reached 81%? If I confess to her now, there's an 81% chance of success. But I didn't do that. I was too hurt by Feng Wan and didn't want to immediately jump into another relationship. The next morning, I woke up in the hotel and took a taxi to the airport. However, at the entrance of the hall, I saw a familiar figure, you and I. She also saw me, smiled excitedly, and waved to me. "Li Xiaodian, good morning. Where are you going? Can you take me with you? I want to go out with you." Looking at the suitcase next to her and the number 100 above her head, in the end, I was still defeated by her last line of defense. I slowly walked towards her and hugged her in my arms. Perhaps I had found someone who liked me 100%.